seminar on the art of chanting. We have been discussing Krishna Nam, Krishna Kam and Krishna Dham. That's the topic. But this seminar is spread out in 3 days. So the first day we discussed about Krishna Dham, yeah. That is association of devotees, or in other words, reading Srila Prabhupada books. That's the foundation of association of devotees. And today we are going to discuss Krishna Nam, and on Sunday, Krishna Kam. So Krishna Nam, or in other words, the art of chanting. And this is, I think, the most important topic we all want to discuss, because chanting is the backbone or the base of Krishna consciousness. If you delete chanting, there is no Krishna consciousness. It's finished. You might be doing anything else, but it's all over. So, what is the art of chanting? Now, well, you might ask me one question. What's the problem in chanting? Like, you chant and be happy. Simple, no? We all hear that. But chant and be happy, that and is very long. So it takes time to become really happy by chanting. Sometimes you're not happy, sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're half happy. Isn't it? So it's a small expression, but a very deep expression. And there is a philosophy to it. I'll comment on this chant and be happy later, but there's a philosophy. But anyway, before starting, let me offer obeisances and then I can go into this. 𝗪𝗲𝗪𝗲𝗀𝗪𝗔 ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषण्यवादी पाश्चात्य। Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I'll be quoting from Prabhupada books. That's a crux here. Okay, what is art of chanting? Why art of chanting? Most of us, if you ask any devotee in ISKCON, that Prabhu, I can't chant properly, what should I do? That's the usual question. No? My mind is like going everywhere and anywhere, and I can't chant properly. And the usual answer is chant sincerely. That's the usual answer, isn't it? Chant sincerely. Focus on chanting. And then you ask again, and then they say, yeah, chant more sincerely. And you ask again, and then the answer is, you're not chanting sincerely. You see the point? So there has to be some practical way out for this. That answer is okay, but then if you chant sincerely, but what do you mean by sincere chanting? That's the question. What should I do? I have been chanting for so many years, but then my chanting is same. Now what should I do? So I'm going to give you some practical tips, what Prabhupada gives in his books, to help us improve our chanting. Something which you can do and apply in your life. It's not chant sincerely only. You have to define what is sincerity. That's the idea there. So, well, before that, I just put it like that. What is the type of chantings? That's all. There can be more types and you can make a list, but this is what I found. This is most of the types. There was one Prabhupada disciple, Atmanat Prabhu, you know him? Yes, so long back when I was in Manipal. He used to tell this, so I remember this. So there is something called submarine chanting. And the submarine chanting goes like this approximately. So you chant, you come and then you sit and Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. You go up and down. You're tired. Or you're sleeping, that's all. That's called submarine chanting. And then there is machine gun chanting. Can anybody tell what's that? Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna. You can't even Krishna can't even understand what you're saying, my name or something else. That's called machine gun chanting. And people do that. There's something called, in this machine gun chanting, there's something called snick chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. You can't even understand what's happening. Like people just, you can't mess up holy names, People chant, you have seen, no? People chant like that. People really, literally chant like that. It's not a joke. And majority of devotees. There's something called radar chanting. That's very common in congregation. When you are at home, trying to finish your rounds, you don't have time, and then you are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So what's my email? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then you are going everywhere, Then some cloth, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Your radar is everywhere. You're not focusing. That's all. You're simply trying to finish chanting. It doesn't work. Bhahunam, what's that verse? What's that verse? 𝗙𝗲𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀 Krishna Pade Prem Dhan. What's that verse? Vahu janma jadi kare nama sankirtan 𝗙𝗲𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀 Krishna Pade Prem Dhan. So you can chant for millions of years, but nothing is going to happen. Shravan Kirtan? Okay. Shravana Kirtan, yeah. So you can't, if you do like this, nothing happens. And then there's something called electric shock chanting. That is very common. Can anybody tell what's that? Can anybody figure out what's that? If you go to Vrindavan, you will find, especially Prabhupada house, like people are, you can't even sit beside that devotee. He might hurt you. And they are just Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, something. What happened, What's the point, To be peaceful and chant nicely. And then can't chanting. This is when you don't have time. And you're trying to finish, okay, there's some meeting and okay, Hare Krishna, Krishna. And then you take out beads. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare. Oh, this much is Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare. Okay, finish. You keep it. Don't do such kind of chanting. It's useless. It's better to stop, take out time and finish afterwards. It's better to do that. Because you are wasting your time, you can invest in something else and then chant later. But you're neither chanting, neither doing anything. You see the point? Avoid these. It's an illusion to think that if you finish chanting quickly, you'll save time. It doesn't happen like that. It's an illusion. You can take half an hour more, but chant properly. That's a good idea because mind works like that, See the point. If you sleep for 1 hour, the time is gone 1 hour. When you sleep for 1 hour in the daytime, you don't see mails, you don't see your WhatsApp or Facebook, what message is coming, you're sleeping. But the word is not destroyed. Your job is not gone. So similarly in chanting, just stop everything. Imagine you are sleeping, like you are sleeping for this material world. And that's what Krishna says, by the way, in Gita. What's that verse? Devotee sleeping for this material world. 𝗀 𝗪𝗲𝗪 yasyam jagrati samyama. You see that? So when those people are sleeping, a devotee is awake. When a devotee is awake, they are sleeping. So Prabhupada writes in the translation, devotee is sleeping to this material world. That's the idea. His mind is not there. So when you are chanting, just think you are going for a nap for 1 hour. That's simple. Just keep your phone somewhere. And if you are in a home, you take your phone and lock it in a safe. Because it's an addiction. You'll not be able to come out of this device. It's impossible. It's impossible. Actually, many books are written. Email addiction, phone addiction. It is a number 1 disease now, more than AIDS. Seriously, it's a disease. People are going mad. They are having psychiatric problems. They are landing into obsession. There's psychiatric OCDs. You know OCDs, no? obsessive compulsive disorders. They're going into this. So you can't think if your phone is in your pocket and you will chant properly. It will never happen. It will never happen. After half an hour you will take out and see something. So either just put phone in your home, go in a park. That's a very good idea, what I do. Just leave everything. If you're in a home, just lock it in a safe, take the key, give to your kid and tell, give me after 1 hour. That's all. And what? So do something out of sight, out of mind. That's what Maya doesn't work like that. That is why there is brahmacharya ashram, sannyas ashram. Why it's there? Like after grihast you have to, ideally you should go in vanprastha and sannyas. Why? Shastras could have advised, you remain, now you have expert, like serving Krishna, so you remain at home and no, you still have to leave. Because if you're with these things, they'll pull you. They will pull you. Maybe not now, maybe after 1 month. Maybe after 2 months. But someday they will be successful to pull you. So you have to get out of them. So that's the idea there. That's the point. So that's why I just put types of chanting. Take care that you don't land up into all these things. You have problems. Okay, this is wrong chanting. We are not supposed to do this. Now what we are supposed to do, let's see. Prabhupada says, out of 9 limbs of devotion, if you can read, chanting is the most important duty. We understand that, isn't it? And this is from Chaitanya Madhya Leela Purport. Prabhupada says in this regard, and this is from Jiva Goswami, Prabhupada quotes. Now, you might have heard chanting is the most important duty, but you might not have heard what Jiva Goswami says, and Prabhupada quotes that. Why chanting is the most important duty? That's the answer here, Prabhupada is giving. Jiva Goswami states in his book Bhakti Sandarbh 173, sometimes it's 173, sometimes 172. If you see original editions, it changes. This is very, very important verse, Sanskrit, which Bhakti Siddhanta often used to quote. Yadyapi anne bhakti 𝗙𝗃𝗃 𝗪𝗃 tada kirtanakhe bhakti samyogenev. It's simple Sanskrit. You can understand, no? Out of the 9 processes of devotional service, kirtan is very important. Jiva Goswami therefore instructs that other processes such as archan, vandan, dasyam, sakyam should be executed, but they must be preceded and followed by kirtan, the chanting of holy names. You see the Sanskrit there? There is the Sanskrit. Oh. Yadyapi anne bhakti 𝗙𝗃𝗃 𝗪𝗃. So yadyapi means although, anne means other, bhakti means processes of bhakti, 𝗙𝗃 means in Kalyug, 𝗪𝗃 means duty. Although it is a duty to follow all processes of devotion in this age, because we can't rely on one, If you keep on chanting, you get bored after some time. So Prabhupada says, variety give you interest, isn't it? You keep on doing. So although you have to follow all processes, tada, still with that, or tada means at that time, kirtan akhya, bhakti which is included, bhakti which is called kirtan. Kirtan means chanting holiness, akhya means which is called, bhakti means bhakti. Bhakti which is called as kirtan, kirtan which is called as bhakti, samyogena eva. Samyogena means combine. So out of all 9 processes, the kirtan bhakti or chanting of holy name should be combined with other processes of devotional service. That is very important. Now, why it is said like that, I am going to ask you this question. But before that, you understand the concept? That is why Prabhupada introduced chanting of holy names with deity worship. You can't do deity worship if there is no holy name chanting going on. That's not advised. Preceded and followed. Both. And with that. So in other traditions, in Sri Vaishnava, in Madhva Sampradaya, they don't do that. You have seen South Indian temples, no? There's a ting, 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 bells will be going on, that's all. But Mahaprabhu, he said, no. You should, when GT worship is going on, somebody should be chanting. When you are cleaning the floor, you should be chanting. When you are cooking, you should be chanting. It should be included. Chanting has to be there. Question is why? Can anybody tell me? Okay, wait, let me just finish this. What's Prabhupada? We therefore introduce this system in all our centers. Archan, Arti, Bhog offering, deity dressing, decoration, all preceded and followed by chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, why? Now the question is why?
It says in the Shastra, this is the Yug Dharma of this.
Can you speak slowly? I can't hear.
This is the Yug Dharma of this age, so that's only works. Other processes, they are just subsidiary. The Yug Dharma for this age is chanting.
Why it is Yug Dharma? Then I can.
Because it's mentioned in the Shastra.
No. Logic. Mentioned in the Shastra, that's okay. That's fine, but we want logic here. Prabhupada said in Hyderabad, one of the lecture, Prabhupada was asking devotees, Prabhupada saying, Krishna is omnipresent. Krishna is omniscient. Then Prabhupada asked why. There's a Hyderabad. So devotees were saying, it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada said, no, I want logic. This age of logic. Give me logic.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Oh, demigods. Okay. Yes.
Is that because people are very busy these days?
That's okay. So?
And they cannot do other processes.
Oh, they are very busy.
Meditation.
They are very busy. So.
Yeah, because that's why Mahaprabhu says there will be no time for eating and.
Okay, fine. So my argument is, if somebody is free, then he can change Yoga Dharma, no? If somebody is free, he is not busy, then Yoga Dharma doesn't apply on him, and he can do deity worship and change it, isn't it? So if you are,
they don't have any personal qualification.
No, your answer presumes that everybody is busy, but everybody is not busy. People who are staying in Vrindavan, they are not busy. They have all the time. So then what should they do? They should then do Archan and Vandan, and because I am free. So this argument, what Prabhupada is giving, that's only applicable to people who are busy, according to your answer. Then who are free, they can change this. So you see the point, there is a loophole in that answer. Yeah.
So my point is, Prabhu, the other forms of services cannot be done in a perfect way in this age, because we don't have that qualification to do the service. Only one service is recommended, which can be done in a perfect way.
But then you can chant even holy names perfectly.
Yeah, initial stage definitely not.
But then initial stage
Namabhas and then Prema.
No, but then anybody can argue, initial stage I am not perfect in deity worship, then slowly I'll become perfect in deity worship.
But it says, like, in this age that nothing is perfect, like the things you are offering to the deities, these things are not.
So this is one answer. In all other processes, you will there is tendency to do mistakes, and they will be mistakes. There will be imperfections, let's say, or impurities. You're bound to do that, because like deity worship, like from where do you get flowers, which have smell, like these are smell, okay, fine, but you don't get, generally you don't get, what do you do? Where do you get pure ghee? Oh, that's why, $5,500, that's why. So you see, you can't do that. You can't get pure ghee. You can't get pure person who chant pure mantras. So every process except chanting has imperfections and impurities there. You can't avoid that in Kali Yuga. But chanting can be performed with purity, at least with purity. If you want to chant with purity, avoiding offenses, you can do that. But all of the processes are imperfections. Okay, that's one thing. But then somebody can say, I'll do smaranam. What's the harm in that? And there were people. At the time of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, there was one devotee, 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪. You might have heard about that. Prabhupada mentions about that, 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪. And Vishwanath Chakravarti and Srinivasacharya's daughter, so she was Hemlata Thakurani. Now this 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, he came up with this point. Okay, fine. All of the processes have imperfections and impurities and defects. We can't follow. So you are recommending chanting because that's in mind, You don't have anything to offer, matter, so there is no impurity, no imperfection. But then you can do smaranam also. That's also in mind, that's equally good. And then he changed the philosophy. He said, no need to chant, just have smaranam. You start with chanting, and when you enter smaranam, you leave chanting. That was his idea. And it created a havoc in Gaudiya Vaishnava Samaj. And still that is going. All these Babajis in Vrindavan, they believe in this philosophy. All Sahijas, they believe in this. You start with chanting, when you go in smaranam, leave chanting. Because the effect of kirtanam is smaranam, we have to remember. But then leave chanting. But Jiva Goswami says, even if smaranam is going on, that has to be done with chanting. That is the point here. All processes should be preceded and followed by chanting, even remembrance. But they didn't. But those people, they don't accept Jiva. They accept Jiva Goswami, but they interpret. But they don't really accept Jiva Goswami. They say, fine, forget it. So what's another argument? There is a problem there, no?
No, Prabhu, you started saying that there has to be a logic given, correct? So, Arjuna itself says, it's very difficult to control mind. Abhyas, okay, Krishna offers that as a solution also. But again, that's also Krishna himself.
No, that's what the Sappa Sampradaya says. It's difficult to remember Krishna. You start chanting, when you enter smaranam, you leave it. That's what they are proposing. They are not.
No. I'm even going one step back to what Gandharvika mother was saying, that when we said that why chanting is to be preceded and followed logically.
Logical.
So I didn't get why mind control can help in. Like you said that's how you can at least you can control the mind, but controlling mind is very difficult, correct?
Controlling.
No, you said that the materials are not pure, etc., correct?
Yeah.
So
anything you do, it's impure, no?
So in mind, you said you can still achieve purity.
Yeah, at least you can avoid offenses by proper conception. Fix a goal, and then go along. If your conception is clear, that's considered to be pure. So our conception is clear. Okay, fine, it will take time to mature, but that's okay. But this, when you're dealing with matter, you can't make everything pure, and everything can't be pure. So there's a problem there. So you see the point there? There's a problem. Smaranam you can also do. So okay, so the point here is why it's the most important duty, why it has to be included with all limbs. You see, chanting is special. If you do deity worship or any other limb, if you start doing anything, Krishna's attention will come on you, isn't it? But that's a good thing and that's a problem also. So the good thing is Krishna is giving attention to us and it's good for us. But that's a problem because if we do mistakes, then he judges also. He is a lover and he's a judge. He's both. And that's what happened with Chota Haridas. Now he was in direct attention of Lord Chaitanya. And he was happy, but he did a mistake and Mahaprabhu noted. So his attention will come. So by chanting, what happens is, so when you're doing deity worship, Krishna sees what you're doing. And then you start thinking something else and Krishna says, what's happening? There's something wrong. And he starts judging. He can't stop judgment. He can't do that. He's God. King cannot stop giving judgment, isn't it? He has to give. So if a person goes to king and somebody says he did a mistake, king will say, well, I have full heart with you, I have full compassion, but Dharma doesn't allow me to not give judgment. I have to do that. Isn't it? Management, it happens like that, isn't it? Like somebody does mistake and they say, Prabhu, we are sorry, but manager says, we have to take action. We have to do something. It's not your question, it's question of everybody. That's the problem there. So Krishna has to pass a judgment, not just for you, but to help others to understand this is wrong. You see the point? In that position, it's a different game altogether. In the position of employee, it's a very different game. So now, but Krishna doesn't want to do that, but he has to do. So what happens is, so Krishna gives a solution, okay fine, chant my names. So when we chant his names, what happens is, we say Hare Krishna, and Krishna starts thinking of whom? Radha. And when you say Krishna, he starts thinking of his all pastimes. When you chant his name, Krishna, isn't it? Then he starts thinking of all his pastimes. Just like we have an album, no? Sometimes we say album, oh, we went to LA, we went to Las Vegas with our kids, and we absorbed. So when we say Hare Krishna, Krishna starts remembering his pastimes, his Radha, and also all other Vrindavan pastimes, because all Vrindavan pastimes are linked with Radha Krishna's pastime. They are not separate, no? All the pastimes of Vrindavan, whether with Shodama or with Sakhya, Dasya, all of them support and nourish Madhurya Bhav. We know that, no? So he starts remembering everything and he becomes very happy. He'll not be happy thinking about us, as much as he's happy thinking about them, of course, naturally. Yeah. Higher taste. So he forgets the lower taste. And when he becomes very happy, and when a person is very happy, what happens? He forgives. Isn't it? Okay, fine, yeah. Just get lost. That's okay. I'm happy. He forgives. He forgives all your faults. And you are saved. You see the point? And that's what is devotion. That is why holy names have to be chanted, to help, to direct Krishna attention to his Vrindavan, his devotees. He is always in a happy mood. When he is in a happy mood, then you can do your services and Krishna will give you. When a person is in a happy mood, he not only excuses your faults but gives you a prize. Isn't it? And that classical example is given by Jiva Goswami of a king who is very strict, who is very dharmic in his like kingdom, and nobody can do any offense, and he judges and everything, but then he goes to a battle, and he comes from the battle and he wins that battle, and he loots, like he gets all the everything from that kingdom, and then he's so happy. He's coming on an elephant, he's very happy, and then people who are coming, he's just distributing like that, no? They throw the money from the top and jewels and take it, we have won, that's a perfect victory. So that's what Krishna, he doesn't only excuse offenses, but he gives mercy. And that is what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's avatar. That is what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Either you chant Hare Krishna and make Krishna happy, or Krishna himself starts thinking about Vrindavan and he makes himself happy. It's all the same, it's the same thing. So Krishna thought, these people, they can't even chant my names and make me happy, so what to do? They are in problem. We have to. So Krishna said, okay, fine. I'll myself remember my devotees' pastimes and I'll make myself happy. And then happy mood, ayogyata, yogyata na karha vichar. Krishna is, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's form, he's thinking about Radha and all devotees of Vrindavan. He's so happy, he can't see who is in front of them. He can't see whether he's fallen or not fallen, he just goes and impresses. You see? Because of bliss, intoxication of bliss of his devotees. And that is Mahaprabhu's role there. That is why it is said, take shelter of Mahaprabhu and then go to Krishna. So that is why chanting is the most important duty in all limbs. You have to do. You see the logic there? Now this is a proper logic. Otherwise, it doesn't make much sense. So don't leave chanting. Never do that. And this also, if you are intelligent, this also means chanting means directing attention of Krishna not on yourself, but to his devotees. And in the process, you will get mercy. So chanting is not all about directing attention of Krishna to yourself. That's not the only thing what we are doing. No. The primary thing is we are directing attention to his most dear devotee. And when he becomes happy, then automatically he thinks, oh, this devotee has made me happy. All mercy to him, isn't it? So that's the idea. He is the center. We are not the center. And that point will come again and again in art of service, art of chanting. That's what we have to learn. That's the only technique. Aham mameti. That's the point. You see, Prahlad Maharaj says, You have heard this, no? Aham Ahmeti, me and mine. And that principle is working here. That's the principle working here. If we understand that, we understand everything. So that's where chanting is the most important duty. Okay. Why chanting is the most important duty, I have stated here. Okay, we had talked about it, but a little more. First, chanting is the most important duty because sins and especially offenses against Lord gets destroyed by chanting. I gave you the logic, but then there are more logics there. Now, whatever offenses you do against Krishna by chanting, they get destroyed. How they get destroyed, I just explained. You see the point? The mechanism I explained. Sins and offenses against Lord. It is said, no? It is said if you do offense against Lord, it can be countered by chanting the holy names. You have heard Prabhupada says, no? But if you do offenses against holy names, there is no other way except chanting holy names to counter offenses. That is when South India you go, people do offense, people go in front of deities and they do, no, Govinda, 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 isn't it? You've seen? So, and in tradition, it is said, if while doing deity worship, you do some offense, like in South Indian Sampradaya, Sri Vaishnava Madhva, if while doing the Aarti you do some offense, chant Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. And Rupa Goswami mentions in his Namashtakam, in Stavamala, any offense against Lord can be countered by chanting His holy name. Why? That mechanism I have explained you. How does offenses and sins get destroyed? I just give you the logic. The next point, why chanting is most important duty is, it helps solve the doubts in philosophy and it nurtures Shravanam. So the point is, here Prabhupada says, if chanting and following the regulations is done sincerely, without offense, all questions and doubtful points of philosophy will be cleared up by realization of Krishna from within the heart of a devotee. This letter to Jayapataka Maharaj. Can anybody tell what Prabhupada is saying here? It appears easy, but it's not easy. It's not easy. You can see from back. You can see. You can do your eyes like that, so you can then maybe something like that, if you can't see.
Is that light working?
Little bit, yeah. I can't see that, but that's, you can close it or what? No, forget it, that's okay. Okay, so why Prabhupada is saying, it is easy, no? The chanting and following of regulations is done sincerely. Okay, good, yeah, thank you.
You can be shifted to...
No, that's okay. Oh, this is good. Again it went back, okay. Bro, that was good, like little more zoom. Little, yeah. You can reduce little, or it goes back. No, so it can be done 150%. If you do manually, it goes there. Yeah. If you do manually, it comes. Manually it's not, okay, fine. ठीक है, we can shift. If chanting and following regulations is done sincerely, without, fine, that's okay. You can see now?
Yes. Yeah, we can see.
ठीक है, we can, पीछे कर देते हैं. We can reduce it. It's not going manually. Yeah, fine, thank you. Chanting and following regulations done sincerely without offense, all questions and doubtful points of philosophy will be cleared up by realization of Krishna from within the heart of a devotee. This letter. Is there anything special here? Can you see that? Now, you know what I'm doing? I'm also helping you to read Prabhupada books. That's my primary goal also. Is there anything special? It's okay, it's simple, okay, let's move forward. But that's not simple. It's very important line and very deep philosophy. And I'll tell you the concept behind it. Okay, anybody can tell me? Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean to say, what's the point Prabhupada is making here?
No, Prabhupada is telling that if we are sincere, which is manifested as Prabhupada is using here,
Yeah.
I think Krishna as Paramatma within our heart will show the directions. Like
Yeah,
that's
that
the
I can
main
read.
thing.
That everybody can read, but is there anything more to it? That's the point there. I can read that, everybody can read.
No, but without offenses. Like everything will be clear.
I can
That's
read that. It's written there without offenses. It's written, no?
Yeah.
So-
So I'm saying that it's kind of almost kind of a miracle. What I have heard is like all the knowledge is in the form of ether. So in the like how we download information.
Okay, wait.
So, like that, by chanting Krishna's name, the mercy descends into the heart. By Krishna's thing.
Wait. You know what? Don't use these terms mercy, and because it becomes very abstract. That's there. Final stroke is mercy. But then that can be answered for all questions, no? Isn't it? See, the point is there is something special going on here, very special. When Prabhupada writes books, he's thinking of some philosophy, no? He's thinking of scriptures. He's not just writing. There's very special thing going on here. I'll tell you what's going on. But first I'm going to ask you, that's the idea. Yeah. काम नहीं कर रहा. They closed it or what?
Hare
Yeah. I was?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So, I was thinking the verse 10:10 in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, Tesam sadata yuktanam bhajatam 𝗙𝗃𝗃𝗃. So, Prabhupada is explaining what is bhajatam 𝗙𝗃𝗃. Sometimes people may misrepresent what is bhajatam. But here he's saying bhajatam means if chanting and following the regulation is done sincerely.
Okay. Yeah, you can say that. But you know what? I expect this answer from children. They can say that. We are all adults and we are all... I'm expecting an answer which is very philosophical and from Prabhupada books. And there is something very important thing going on behind this. Prabhupada is thinking something, that's the idea. And then he's writing this. So, should I tell? So the idea is, even demigods don't know. So just leave it. Internet. Nobody is speaking. So anyway, so the idea here is, Prabhupada is making a point of, Prabhupada in one of his lectures gives 5 levels of realizations. Now you have to know that, one of his lectures. And that is very traditional and scriptural understanding. Everybody knows that. All Madhva philosophy is based on that thing, what Prabhupada quotes there. And again in commentaries you read these words, what Prabhupada mentions. And the 5 levels of realization is, first is pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means you observe. That's where science works. You observe and take conclusions. So I'm seeing you and this is this. But the next level of knowledge, so there are 5 levels of knowledge, let us put like that. So first is pratyaksha, and the next level of knowledge is paroch. And Prabhupada explains, paroch means, para means other, iksha means eyes. Pratyaksha means, pratyaksha is you divide as prati plus aksha. So prati means every, aksha means eyes. Or senses. Aksha, if you take senses. Why? Because you can also say senses as indriya, but we generally, when we have to speak about senses, we talk about eyes, because eyes is the most important of all senses, isn't it? At least for us. Isn't it? At least for us. Although we say tongue is most important, but practically if you come, eyes are the most important for us. So if I give you a choice, I'll make you blind or I'll cut your tongue. What you will choose? Tell me. Definitely, yeah, cut my tongue. Don't make me blind. Blind is a big thing. You can't see. So you'll choose eyes if I give you option. Ears, no, I'll cut your nose. Okay, fine, do it. No problem. Or I'll make you deaf. Or eyes. So aksha. So in shastras, either senses are called as indriya or they are called as aksha. Eyes. So when you say eyes, it includes all indriyas. So aksha is referred to as sense perception. You observe. That's why science. You see this. They tell no. You show me. Scientists say. They don't say you make me hear. But that includes everything. So pratyaksha means prati aksha. When you get knowledge through all these senses, prati, every senses, that is pratyaksha. But then higher level of knowledge is paroch. Paroch means other. Eyes means other. When you start seeing not from your eyes, but from others' eyes. From whose eyes? From the eyes of scriptures, Shastra Chakshu, that is Paroch and that is Shravanam. We hear that, isn't it? We hear that and we take knowledge. But then we get doubts also, isn't it? But now you may say, well, I will not get any doubts. I will apply my intelligence, clear up all doubts. Even if you're the most intelligent, even if you're Brahma, if you read philosophy, you'll get doubts. You know why? You know why? Why?
Philosophy is always discuss question and answer.
Because Krishna is having contradictions. Krishna is contradictory. He's God. He's good, he's bad. He's humble, he's merciful, he's very hard. You have heard that, no? He has all contradictory qualities. He's very grave, he's very naughty. So everything contradictory. He's Damodar, he's small boy, but whole universe is there in him. It's all contradictory. He's Aishwarya, but at the same time he's Mathura. So everything contradictory. So what to do with this? So when Brahma also meditates, he can't understand what's happening, no? Jananti api janantova. Brahma says, no? 10th canto, 14th chapter. Brahma says, anybody who says he knows Krishna, let him say. But as far as I am concerned, I don't understand him. Why? Because of one point that his knowledge is infinite, no? His qualities are infinite. You cannot end it. Another thing is, if you manage to end it, still you will not be able to understand because everything is contradictory. Some contradictions you can solve, some you can never. You can't understand what's happening. So that's the point. So doubts will, Prabhupada says this point in Chaitanya Charitamrita purport, by the way, if you read properly. And one of the purport Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada says, if you read philosophy without chanting, you will land up in contradictions. Prabhupada doesn't say doubts, Prabhupada says contradictions. And that's a very important point. Whole Vallabh Sampradaya is based on this one point, contradictions. And that is technically called as Virodh. Virodh. So it is said Krishna is full of Virodh. So that is called Virodh Samanvaya. You get contradictions, but then you harmonize them, isn't it? Something you can, something you can't. You can't understand what to do with that. So you see the point? So when you are at that Paroch level, when you are reading books, when you are understanding scriptures, you will have doubts. If you say I don't have doubts, it means you're not reading, you're not understanding. You will land up in contradictions. Because that word is contradictory. But scriptures will give you a way to harmonize those contradictions also. That's another thing. Some of the contradictions, scripture says you can't. That's inaccessible to human. You can't do that. So forget it. But these you can do. So how to clear up those doubts? You will get doubts, you will end up in contradictions. What to do? Just by applying your mind, you will not be able to understand. Scriptures will offer you a solution. But for some scriptures do not offer a solution. Then what to do? Then chanting will give you realization. That is the dami buddhi yogam tam. That's where role of Krishna comes. Otherwise they can say, I can read books, I can understand and I can apply my intelligence and I don't need Krishna's mercy. No, you will not be able to make out. The dami buddhi yogam tam. Krishna will tell you how this is like this. Just like simple example. Holy name is Krishna himself, isn't it? You have all heard, no? Do you understand that? Yes. No. Neither I, neither you. We really don't understand that. Only theoretically we know. Krishna is Him and Krishna is one. But we exactly don't know how this is, how it works. We have faith. It is like this. But how this is, we don't know. You got my point? We don't know. We accept it, but we don't know. That's where role of Krishna comes. You cannot solve this mystery by intellect. No matter how many books you read, you will never be able to understand holy name is Krishna himself until unless Krishna guides you from within. You understand the point? There's a block here. It's blocked. So there is Paroch and then there is Aparoch level. Beyond Paroch there is a level called as Aparoch. Aparoch means what? Can anybody tell me? Now Paroch means, Para means other, Aksha means senses. So when you start seeing from others' eyes, from the eyes of scriptures, that is Paroch knowledge. That's what we are taking. But beyond this is 𝗪𝗪𝗀. 𝗪𝗪𝗀 Gyan means what? In Paroch you add a. So that means? Yeah. So you see, Pratyaksh means from our senses. Paroch means from other senses. 𝗪𝗪𝗀 means again from? Beyond senses. 𝗪𝗪𝗀 means not from other senses, again from our senses. Now what happens? From my senses, from other senses, and not from other senses. Now what's happening? You add a there, you put negative. So that's knowledge. At Pratyaksh level, you are seeing through these eyes. At 𝗪𝗪𝗀 level, you are seeing through soul's eyes now. You again see from your own angle, but now from the eyes of soul, which is 𝗓 𝗪𝗂𝗪𝗀𝗪𝗀. You see? Jnana Shalakaya. 𝗪𝗂𝗪. He opens the eyes. Which eyes? Eyes of soul. That's what is happening. So that is the Dhammi Buddhikam. Prabhupada is mentioning about 𝗪𝗪𝗀 Gyan here. That's why I'm telling. That's the philosophy is talking about. If chanting and following of regulations done sincerely without offense, all questions and doubtful points of philosophy will be cleared. The questions and doubtful points which we get at Paroch level by hearing scriptures, just by applying indulgence, we will not be able to solve. By chanting, all those will be solved, and will be cleared by realization of Krishna from within the heart of a devotee. You see? So role of Krishna comes at the level of 𝗪𝗪𝗀 Gyan. If you want to go from Paroch to 𝗪𝗪𝗀, you need Krishna's help. You will not be able to cross that. If you want to go from Pratyaksh to Paroch, what do you need? If you want to make that transition from Pratyaksh to Paroch, whose help do you need? Primarily Shastras and Guru and Sadhu. But if you want to go from Paroch to 𝗪𝗪𝗀, you need help of Krishna. And then Prabhupada says, beyond this also you have levels. Beyond, after Paroch, there is a level called as Adhokshaj, which comes at the level of Bhava. And after that, there is a level Aprakrit, which comes at the level of Prema. There are different levels of knowledge also, after that also. So that's not the end there. That's what, you see how Prabhupada is giving such a depth in his books. And you will be able to make out, see, this all 5 levels of knowledge I have not brought from Madhva, from Sri, it's from Prabhupada books. If you read all Prabhupada books, then you will understand what Prabhupada is talking. So it is said everything is there in Prabhupada books, but you have to add another statement, if you read everything in Prabhupada books. Otherwise, there's a problem. Okay, and why chanting is most important duty? This is very important. It is gateway to remembrance. Kirtana prabhave, smarana hove. The idea of chanting is to remember him. Chanting should induce remembrance. And this Prabhupada writes in 8.5 purport Gita. The word smaranam is important. Remembrance of Krishna is not possible for impure and who is not practiced Krishna consciousness in devotional service. Therefore, one should constantly, incessantly chant the devotional service, chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. See, Prabhupada is mentioning. The result of Shravanam and Kirtanam should be remembrance. That's the goal. Okay, fine. So somebody can tell. Result of chanting is bliss, isn't it? Somebody can say like that. But no, that's the effect of chanting. Effect and result is different. The goal of chanting is remembrance. The effect of chanting is bliss. But we confuse goal with the effect. That's what we do. So when we chant, we feel blissful. Oh yeah, it's done. I am the 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗪𝗀 Swami. It's so nice chanting. But no, you should not stop at that point. That's the effect. That will come. We have to achieve this goal. Samaranam. Bhaktisiddhanta says, unless you don't have smaranam from kirtanam, you will definitely fall down. Nobody can save us. It's impossible. That's why Bhaktivedanta says, quickly come to this point. Madhyamadhikari is a person who, when chants, he remembers Krishna. Below this point, we are all neophytes. We are all neophytes now. Isn't it? We chant, we don't remember Krishna, no? We don't remember him. And that's very funny because we are chanting his names, Krishna, 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 but we don't remember him. You see the point? It's like crazy. It's a mad person. You have to be mad to do this. You keep on chanting his names constantly, Krishna, 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 and you don't remember anything about him. It's a crazy situation. That's why Bhagavatam says, what's that verse? 𝗙ષભદેવ says, Nunam pramatta. People are mad according to mechanical calculation. 𝗙ષભદેવ says that. 𝗙ષભદેv says, according to my calculation, they are all mad. They are all insane. Now, when I have joined Krishna Consciousness, when I read Bhagavatam, I said, what is he saying? Like, I couldn't really believe, Bhagavatam is a shock now. People are mad. We don't see people mad. They're like, okay, like, fine. But he says, according to me, they are mad. Why? Because it's madness, If you chant Aishwarya Rai, Aishwarya Rai, what will you think? Immediately you start thinking about her. Something. If you chant Amitabh Bachchan, you'll start remembering about him. Or if you chant your Guru's name, you'll start remembering about him. But if you chant Krishna, you don't remember anything. In spite of the fact we have read so much about him. Now you can argue, okay, if I chant Hare Aishwarya Rai, I start remembering Aishwarya Rai because I have heard about her, seen her in the movies or whatever, Amitabh Bachchan. But then you have heard about Krishna also. You have seen his movies, but you don't remember him. So what's happening? Something weird is happening. There's something loose nut here. Something is weird. Why it's happening like that? And we tell why it's like that. We heard so much, but still no remembrance. Why is like that? You got my question? You have to think about that. And if you can figure out why, then you can keep a solution. If you can't figure out why, then there's no solution. First of all, you have to come up with this question, why, which I've given you now.
No taste. Because I like
That's one thing.
Like all other people, but I don't like Krishna that much.
You can say it like that. Yeah.
I did not get that question, Prabhuji. I mean, when we chant,
you don't remember Krishna.
Maybe bits and pieces. I mean, just like we remember
sometimes,
Amitabh Bachchan.
most of the time, no, isn't it?
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, of course. Let's be frank. Okay.
So you're saying, okay, by definition, why we don't remember Krishna all the time?
But when we chant any other's name in material world, when you chant your child's name, you'll remember him. When you chant, our child is anyway with you. When you chant Amitabh Bachchan's name, you start remembering him.
But we don't remember Amitabh Bachchan also all the time, even when we are chanting Amitabh Bachchan.
If you chant Amitabh Bachchan, you'll start remembering all his movies. You'll see that. You try that. Everything will come in your mind. Kuli, Sholay, something. It'll happen, you will see that. If you chant, you close your eyes, chant Trump, his photo will come, everything will come. But when we chant Krishna, no, nothing. Although we are seeing his photos, we are hearing about him in 20 years, like 20, 25, 15 or whatever. And 24 hours we are doing that. Why it's like that? Faith. Come on, that's a universal answer. Yeah, one thing is there. There is, in the depth of our soul, we are not really convinced Krishna is there. If you go in depth of your soul, and if you understand what I'm saying. Like Amitabh Bachchan is there, Aishwarya Rai is there, but Krishna is there or not, we are not exactly maybe convinced, For some of us, not for all of us. Maybe a new person comes, fine, Krishna is there. I'm hearing, but is really there or not. For some people it may be like that, lack of faith. But for many devotees, okay, we have faith, like 15, 10 years, we have faith, Krishna is there. But then the idea is lack of ruchi, interest. And that is the point of enviousness. That's what Prabhupada says, we envy Krishna, isn't it? That's the point comes there. We envy him. That is why in spite of chanting his names, in spite of hearing so much, our mind doesn't remember him. We envy him, that's the problem. We don't envy Amitabh Bachchan and Aishwarya Rai, but we envy Krishna. And that envy is not in this life, that is from millions of years back, you're carrying it. You even don't know that you're envious. You see the point? We're carrying it from millions of years. Because of that, we can't remember him. It doesn't allow you to remember him. No, mind says no. You say Krishna, Krishna, mind says no, I'm not going to remember him. He is useless. I don't like him. I want to become Krishna. Why he is Krishna? Why he is enjoying with girls? I want to enjoy. It's all in us. You see the point? That's the concept of envy. Otherwise, why we are here? That's in your subconscious mind. It's not in your conscious mind, by the way. It's not there in a conscious mind. It's all in a subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is 95%, no? They say something. Conscious mind is just 5%, and that all comes in our dreams. You see? Something is coming, or a reflexes, or when you're tested, something else is coming out. It's very complex. Krishna says, mind is having God-like power. In Bhagavatam you read, Krishna says, mind is having God-like power. It's a very complex game. So that's the idea there. But somehow you have to make a transition from Kirtanam to Smaranam. Of course, so I'm not saying when you get Smaranam you leave Kirtanam, because that we have already explained. Kirtanam should go on. So through Kirtanam you have to get Smaranam. That's a goal. Otherwise we are very unsafe. Kirtana prabhave smarana hobe se kale nirjana bhajana sambhav. Bhakti Siddhanta. When you start do Kirtan and you start remembering, at that time you can remain alone and chant. Nirjana bhajan. Nirjan bhajan, you understand? You can stay alone and chant. That means you're safe. Till that time you need support of devotees. Otherwise you can fall down. So you understand? So this is a goal. Come to this goal. So for that you should pray. Krishna, please give your remembrance. Please give your remembrance. I want your remembrance. You should associate with devotees who have interest in Krishna. So you get that interest, isn't it? So that interest counters enviousness. You see the point? We should read Krishna book daily. That's very important. Read Krishna book daily. That's why Prabhupada said read Krishna book daily. Prabhupada doesn't say read Krishna book daily because you have to read pastimes daily. No, there is a logic there. If you don't read Krishna book daily, you will never get rid of enviousness. And then never will we make a transition from, so let's not use this word. You will never make transition from only chanting to chanting with remembrance. Let's put it like that. So Prabhupada, there's a Prabhupada standing order. We should read Krishna book daily. You have read that, no? You have heard that? We should read Krishna book daily. Prabhupada says at least for 1 hour. Prabhupada says that. And there's a logic to this. Because if you only keep on hearing philosophy, you'll not be able to make out this transition. It's not possible. You have to hear his pastimes, qualities, names, and through his devotees. You see, we get interest in some person not by just seeing him. We get interest in that person when other people glorify him. That happens like that, no? If you see that person, okay, that person is so nice, so handsome, so perfect, then you know what will happen? You'll start envying him. Oh, ye jada hi ban raha hai. Nahi? Then finally that will come. Wo aa jayega. Everything is nice and this and that. But then he is there, but then 1,000 people are saying they are nice. Everybody comes to you, he does like that, he does like that, he does. You know, directly you're hearing through them, then you develop attraction, isn't it? That happens like that, no? It goes like that only. So that's with Krishna. That's why Krishna says, hear what my devotees has to say about me. If you hear about me directly, there can be a problem in conditioned stage of life, because already we are envious. And we directly hear about just him, we become more envious, no? It can happen like that. So Krishna says, one who is my devotee, I don't consider him my devotee. One who is my devotee's devotee, isn't it? So we have to hear through devotees. That is Krishna's pastimes. We are looking at Krishna through Yashoda Ma's angle, from Radharani's angle, from his friend's angle, and they all praise Krishna, they all like Krishna, and we start liking him, isn't it? So liking, the idea is, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Krishna says, if you want to like me, you have to go to people who like me. This wealth of liking me, I have given it to my devotees, isn't it? If you have to learn how to like that person, you have to go to a person who likes him. That's a simple thing, that's all. It's common sense logic. Because taste is contagious. And that liking is contagious. You'll start liking him. Isn't that happens, in a congregation also it happens. So somebody will come you and tell, Prabhu, that devotee is nonsense. And then next time you meet him and see him, and that thought comes, yeah, really, he's nonsense. He's sitting like that. Yeah, he said that he's nonsense. He doesn't know even how to sit. You see, your mind starts working like that. Even small fraction of association. But if some devotee says, Prabhu, that devotee is so nice. And then next time you see that devotee, yeah, he's so nice. Somehow, isn't it? You start thinking in that way. That is why Krishna book is the most important thing. Don't miss a day without reading Krishna book. How many people read Krishna book daily? So then you can never make that transition. Please do that. Please do that. Whatever Prabhupada says, that is important and that carries a depth. He doesn't say like that. He has made a system which is perfect. We just have to follow it. We can't delete, we can't add anything. So please make it a point. Maybe before sleeping, you can read. Or maybe in your office, whenever, if you have the lunch break. But you have to keep it in your schedule. Otherwise, this never happens. And that is why you see we are chanting and no remembrance, isn't it? So what's the lack? Okay, this is one of the lack. We are not reading Krishna book. If you read, you see the difference. You see the difference. Okay. That is why chanting is the most important duty. Understood? Fine. So this was not a simple question. Chanting is most important duty. It's not simple. It's complex, and you have to. And Prabhupada says everything. Okay. So, chanting is also important because chanting strengthens the soul. Now this is important. This Prabhupada mentions in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 42nd verse. If you have read Bhagavad Gita, this is a very important statement by Prabhupada, and I'm going to ask you what Prabhupada says. Prabhupada says, but even though the soul is a master, can you zoom that thing? Just that. But even though the soul is a master of intelligence, just a quotation. I need the quotation. No, it's not necessary to zoom, but you can just shift. It can't shift? Yeah, it cannot shift. It cannot shift? Okay, fine, that's okay, then. Even though the soul is a master of intelligence and mind, and the senses also, still unless it is strengthened by association with Krishna, in Krishna consciousness, there is every chance of falling down due to agitated mind. You see? Prabhupada says, unless soul is strengthened, it's gone, soul is gone. This is Maya. This screen. Soul is gone. Okay. But even though soul, you see, Prabhupada says, still unless, it is there. Yeah. It moves side. अच्छा हैंड काम नहीं करता, ये खींच नहीं पा रहा, जहाँ हो गया खींच लिया. But even though soul is a master of intelligence and mind, the senses also, still unless it is strengthened by association with Krishna. Prabhupada is talking about strengthening the soul with association with Krishna. Now what's the meaning of that? Strengthening soul with association of Krishna. How do you get association of Krishna? By chanting. Prabhupada is saying, by chanting strengthens the soul. This is a concept he is bringing. There is every chance of falling down due to agitated mind. This is a concept he is bringing. Now I'll ask you a question, just a minute after this. But before that, can you just go to the slide? This 3.42. Can anybody tell what's this verse, 3.42? No. Just I want this slide back. Was that verse? Yeah. Indriyani parani ahur, indrivya paramana. Before that? Oh yeah, Indriyani. That's all. Indriyani parani ahur, indrivya paramana, manasastu parabuddhir, parasastu 𝗙𝗲𝗃. Krishna gives the hierarchy. Above senses is mind, above mind is intelligence, above intelligence is soul. Why Krishna gives a hierarchy? To help us understand how to do bhakti. It is not just jnanis. So renunciation strengthens the senses. The homework is you go back and find verses for all of them. Renunciation strengthens senses. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, but I am giving you the concept. Rules and regulations strengthens the mind. Philosophy strengthens the intelligence. And chanting strengthens the soul. And that's what Prabhupada is mentioning in his purport. And that is why in Krishna consciousness you have to do all these things. If you miss something, it's gone. You see, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, where does Maya reside? Yeah, mind, intelligence, senses, all of them. Maya has conquered all gates. So you have a city, you have 4 gates. Soul, intelligence, mind and senses, 4 gates. When an enemy attacks, he will attack at the weakest point. Anything is weak, any of these 4, he will be prone to Maya. So you have to strengthen all gates. And that is why Prabhupada says all of these 4 have a role in our Krishna consciousness. You have to be renounced. That means like rule, don't enjoy, don't do sense gratification. Prabhupada says follow rules and regulations. Prabhupada says follow rules and regulations like a law. Prabhupada says understand philosophy, and Prabhupada says chanting. It's a package. If you don't read philosophy, if you say, okay, I'll chant and follow rules and regulations, your intelligence is weak, Maya will attack that. And she'll make you fall down. If you don't follow rules and regulations, like 𝗪𝗂𝗪𝗲, your mind is weak, you'll fall down. If you're not renounced enough, if you're not careful, attentive, and you're indulging in sense objects, you'll fall down. So you see, this concept which Krishna gives hierarchy, it helps us to understand why do we need all things. And 𝗪𝗂𝗪𝗲s don't understand this. Upper Sampradaya people don't understand this. Now there are 2 questions here. First question is, how does renunciation strengthen soul? Now your homework is you have to find the verses. Chanting strengthens the soul, this verse is there anyway, 3.42. But anyway, you find that verse. Now my question is, how does renunciation strengthen the senses? Like, what's the meaning of that?
We come to the mode of goodness.
They have to give me proper, then what is mode of goodness and how? You see the point? It's like you're raising one more question. It's not clear, no? It's neither satisfying, this answer, isn't it? It's not satisfying to you. Are you satisfied by this answer? Maybe more, no? See? Yeah. So renunciation strengthens the senses. Why? Because you have to understand what is the function of senses. That's where philosophy comes. Bhagavatam speaks about, 3rd, 4th canto speaks about senses, mind, it's in details. So the idea is, senses, nature of senses is when this, you know this 𝗪𝗲𝗃 𝗪𝗲 prayers? So Brahma was figuring out, how to get senses out of objects, The senses are always indulgent senses, how to separate them. Brahma was confused, 𝗪𝗲𝗃 𝗪𝗲, Krishna comes in form of crane, and Krishna says, what's the problem? Brahma says, this is a problem. How to decontact senses from its material object? It seems it's impossible. So how to do that? So Krishna says, well, don't try to do it because it is impossible. You can't do it. But what you can do is, you can follow the process of renunciation. You can avoid some things which will agitate your senses by the process of Krishna consciousness. You see? You can avoid some things, but you can't totally cut off. The idea is you can use the same things in Krishna's service, and that's how when you use these things you will remember Krishna, not this. That's a process, no? That much you can do, but you can't decontact. That's impossible. So renunciation according to devotion, the definition of renunciation according to devotees is different from definition of renunciation according to jnanis. Jnanis will try to decontact senses, go to Himalayas or go. Devotees, so what is the definition of renunciation by devotees? Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunchintah nirbandha Krishna sambandha yukta vairagyam. So, if you use the same things in service of Krishna, rather than it making your senses weak, your senses become strong because it starts thinking about Krishna and then it stops thinking about material words. So, renunciation will strengthen the senses. That's very important. So, avoid all those things which make you forget Krishna. Now, that is renunciation. Renunciation is renouncing those things which make you forget Krishna. Even if it is an object which is seemingly devotional. Don't do that. So one of our brahmacharis, when I was in Manipal, he used to preach very strongly and very nicely, very enthusiastically. But he used to go to girls' hostel and preach. That was what he was doing. Now, is that a good idea? It's Krishna consciousness. And all these beautiful girls, they are engaged in service of Krishna. And we are going to preach them. It is seemingly devotional. Okay, these girls are there, I am talking and I am unmarried. Okay, fine. And girls' hostel, come on, what is doing there? But the idea is, those objects will make you forget Krishna, of course. You're not supposed to go there. So you have to avoid it. This is a principle of devotion. That is vivek, discrimination. Even in devotion you have to see what makes me remember Krishna, what makes me forget him. Everything will not make you remember Krishna because you have different sanskars. Isn't it? For me, maybe chole puri makes me forget about Krishna, I see, and Mahaprasad. For maybe somebody else, pizza makes him forget about Krishna. Maybe it's Mahaprasad. So you have to apply this vivek. This is vivek. Yeah, okay, pizza comes with Mahaprasad. What can I do? I have to eat it anyway. So you start eating. You like it and you forget him. So you go into a trip, somewhere. And that's a big confusion. Don't do that. And you have to decide yourself. Nobody can decide for you because we know where we have all these hang-ups. We know this. Even Guru cannot tell you. You have to see on your. That is vivek. That is called. That is a definition of vivek. Discriminate. Prabhupada gives no. Intelligence in Krishna consciousness is discrimination between illusion and Krishna. Reality. Prabhupada says in Bhagavatam, first purport he says, illusion and reality. That is the point. So you can be fooled by Maya even in devotion. So you see the renunciation? So it will strengthen you. So if sitting down and chanting makes you sleep, stand up. Don't be, okay, I have to sit and chant. Who said sit and chant? Who said sit and chant? That's coming in ISKCON. Many devotees say you have to sit and chant. But nobody said, no acharya said. Did you find Prabhupada saying? There is one lecture, by the way, we were talking. Prabhupada says, sit properly. You have heard that? And then they say, Prabhupada says, sit and chant. But that's wrong. That somebody might be just sitting like this and Prabhupada says, sit properly. But that doesn't mean you should always sit and chant. That's an extension of that logic in a wrong way, isn't it? If somebody is standing wrongly and he's chanting, so what you will say? Stand properly. So then this means you have to stand and chant. No. Did you read anywhere Prabhupada is saying you have to sit and chant? Have you read? No. In fact, Prabhupada was standing and chanting, walking and chanting. So many videos are there. Bhaktivedanta used to walk and chant daily, 2 hours. That he had a mutt in Calcutta, Bagh Bazaar, In that gallery, he used to walk and chant. Bhaktivedanta Thakur used to every day in the evening go to a park for 2 hours. He used to walk and chant. And then they asked, why you're doing that? Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, so that these trees and people can hear chanting. And when they see me, they'll remember Krishna. So there's no system of sitting and chanting. The idea is renunciation. Principle is renunciation. If you sit and if sitting makes you forget Krishna, stand. If standing makes you forget Krishna, start running. If running makes you forget Krishna, then what do? If you feel sleepy while sitting, then what do? Stand. If you feel sleepy while standing, walk. If you feel sleepy while walking, run. If you feel sleepy while running, then sleep for some time. What do? Sleep, bhaiya. Don't try to finish your chanting. It's crazy. Take a nap, What's a big deal? Word doesn't get destroyed. So you see, renunciation strengthens senses. You see the logic behind. And rules, regulations strengthens the mind. Now what is the nature of mind? So what's the word used in Bhagavatam? Nature of mind? Sankalp and Vikalp. Accept and reject. Mind does like that. It will accept one moment, next moment it will reject. The same thing. So to something like this which accepts and rejects instantly, what do you do with it? How do you control it? By putting limits, isn't it? If you want to see mind in action, you see children. That's all. That child. His mind in action, his gross manifestation of mind. Doing something. Yeah, Mama, give me this, then don't give me this. See, that's children are gross manifestation of mind. And then you can understand this is mind. So to control mind, what do you do? To control children, what do you do? There are rules and regulations, Mama says you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this, you do this. Isn't it? Then children are controlled. No rule and regulation, they're like out. So mind is like a child. You have to give rules and regulations. Otherwise it becomes weak. It becomes spoiled. And rules and regulations will strengthen your mind. That is why we have to follow. Prabhupada says, follow rules and regulations like military laws. Otherwise your mind will become very weak. So you can't miss Mangalarti. You can't you can't eat outside stuff. Don't break rules because mind is having a trick. Once you break a rule, one time, mind will make you break the rule 1,000 times. It will pull you down. It just is finding, once your sankalp goes down, mind will take over. And Krishna says in Garuda Puran to Garudji, Krishna says, never break rules and regulations, otherwise you will never be able to come back 100%. Your heart will start compromising. Your mind will start compromising and then things will go wrong. So rules and regulations strengthens mind. Philosophy strengthens intelligence, that we understand. The role of intelligence is discrimination. Philosophy helps us to discriminate. That's easy. But Krishna is mentioning in this verse, and Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, even if you do all these three, renunciation, rules, regulations, philosophy, without chanting, your soul remains weak. And if the soul remains weak, there is every chance of falling down due to agitated mind. So chanting strengthens the soul. If the leader is weak, everything goes down, isn't it? If GBCs are weak, ISKCON becomes weak. Top level has to be strong. So that's why Krishna is saying chanting strengthens the soul. You got my point? So do all these four. Every day you should do all these four. Don't miss anything. So rules and regulations anyway, Prabhupada made a system, we are doing. We have to be careful. Renunciation, you have to be careful what you are doing. Philosophy, you read books. Chanting strengthens the soul, okay. Now the question is, how does chanting strengthen the soul? What do you mean by that? Prabhupada says there. Unless it is strengthened by association with Krishna. What do you mean by strengthening the soul? What do you mean by that? Now we understand renunciation strengthens senses, we understand. Rules and strengthens mind, we understand. Philosophy strengthens intelligence, we understand. But what do you mean chanting strengthens soul? What is Prabhupada saying? Like, what's the point there? Renunciation strengthens the senses by engaging them in service of Krishna. Okay? Rules and regulations strengthens the mind by limiting it, by giving a maryada. Philosophy strengthens the intelligence by giving the power of discrimination. Chanting strengthens the soul, dash, dash, dash. Now that's what I'm asking. By what?
By making us understand that we don't find enjoyment outside.
That's philosophy. Philosophy is strengthening intelligence. That's philosophy, intelligence. Okay, you're somewhat near, yeah. Okay, yeah. You can qualify your words, that's fine. Satisfaction is not really like to the point answer because philosophy can also satisfy intelligence, no? When we understand something, we get satisfied. We need some more higher principle. No, that is all universal answers. See, in my class, if you say love, mercy, that will be wrong. 100%. Wrong in the sense, that's might be some answer, but that's not a to the point answer. That's all universal answers. Anybody can say, no? Okay? So how do you strengthen your mind? Krishna consciousness. How do you strengthen intelligence? Practice bhakti. How do you strengthen soul? Mercy of Krishna. This is not an answer, by the way. This is an answer but not an answer in that way. So to the point, Prabhupada says spirituality is science, no? Prabhupada always said it's a science. And Rupa Goswami presented it as a science. That's our tradition. That is uniqueness of Mahaprabhu. He presented love as science, nectar of devotion. Such analysis, who did that? If you read nectar of devotion, you might feel, what's the need of this, Anubhav, Vibhav, Satvik Bhav, Sanchari Bhav. You may not have even read all these things, isn't it? Nobody really reads that, understands that. It's so complex. Then Vibhav is Uddipan, and then Vishay, and then Ashray, and then so many things, and forget it, just love Krishna. It happens like that, no? No, but Mahaprabhu's idea is not that. They analyze, they give things. So we have to, otherwise we can't advance. If we can't pinpoint what we are doing, how do we know? We can't do anything, no. Then answer will come, Prabhu, how should I chant? Chant sincerely. This is no answer, according to me. This answer and no answer. Chanting strengthens the soul. How? Chanting strengthens your soul. You have to know the function of soul now first. Just like function of senses, mind, intelligence. What is function of soul? What does soul do? What's the nature of soul? Satchidananda is theoretical answer. Practical answer. Okay, yeah, service. That is the action, that is the nature. That is action of soul. By nature, what is soul? Like what? By nature of soul is to get attracted. Nature of Krishna is to attract. Nature of soul is to get attracted. That's how it is made, isn't it? That's its nature, inherent nature. So anything you present to soul, it will start get attracting to it. Anything. That's in material world like that, no? You take any object, after some time you will become attached to it. Isn't it? Anything. If you don't like eating eggs, you like eating eggs? No, okay. You go somewhere, leave Krishna consciousness, start eating eggs. After 1 month, that will be your best dish. You will become addicted to it, isn't it? That's addiction. Anything you can get addicted. It's simple. One of my devotees, not my god brother, but some other, I don't know, some Maharaj devotee, he was telling me that he wanted to remain brahmachari So he was having a tough time, so he thought he'll go to Africa. And you don't get attracted, like all these females, like super black females, and our mind doesn't work like that. So he said, there I'll be brahmachari, I'll be safe. After 2 years he came with the wife who was African. So what happened, Well, if you start staying there, if you start looking, interacting, you start getting attracted. It happens like that, isn't it? So that's how soul wants to get attracted, because it doesn't find Krishna. It starts getting attracted towards other thing. But then what happens is, this, no? Soul is searching for perfection. You know this, no? We are all searching for perfection. That's soul. Because we were with Krishna, we know what is perfection, and now we are searching here. And even a fraction of perfection, anywhere we see, we get attracted. Oh, yeah. So this is perfect. Yeah, okay, this is nice. But then when we go close to it, we start seeing there are imperfections also. And then we get repulsed. Because soul says, this is not Krishna. I thought this is Krishna because there is perfection. I went near it and I saw there is imperfection. Forget it. And it goes back. You see, that's material world, no? You get frustrated. That's marriage, no? That's all. It's so nice, she's so nice, he's so nice. You get married and then after, oh my God, what's happening? We landed in a wrong place. There's so much imperfection there. So that's how that's the soul nature, to get attracted, to seek perfection. And wherever there's out of perfection, it will run there, in the hope that there is Krishna. When you go close, oh, this is not Krishna. There's so imperfection, it goes back. Then there's contempt, frustration. That's what is a philosophy. So soul needs, the nature of soul is to get attracted. And chanting strengthens that attraction towards Krishna. The chanting strengthens the soul by making it attracted towards Krishna. Attraction or ruchi, that's the word used. Chanting gives soul ruchi, interest in Krishna. And then, okay, fine. Soul gets attracted to it. Chanting presents you Krishna, isn't it? Direct association with Krishna. So, if I see this, I get attracted. If always I am associated with Krishna, okay, fine. Oh, this person, he's so nice. Then you go near him. There's no imperfection. Fine. That's it. Finished. So, that's how chanting strengthens soul. By giving ruchi and a direct perception of Krishna. That's the point there. Direct perception. And there is a verse for this in Bhagavad Gita. Chanting gives direct perception of Krishna. You find it and tell me on Sunday. That's your homework. No. You think about it. You think for all these 4 things. But especially chanting strengthens soul by giving direct perception of Krishna. And Prabhupada says that in translation also, by the way. But then it will be easy for you to find. But go and look in Gita. It's in Gita, by the way. So, you see the point? You read Prabhupada books, but then you have to apply it. Otherwise, what happens is, you cram the verses, but you don't know that you have the arrows, but you don't know how to shoot. So it's as good as not having the arrows. It's all like that, no? That's why I'm asking you. That's why I'm giving you these puzzles, to inspire you to read books in this fashion. Read them nicely and apply them. And then it will help you in life and help others also. You see the point? It's such a depth in Prabhupada books. It's just 2 lines of Bhagavad Gita, purport, 3.42 purport, and there's so many things in this. So many things. You can just sit and keep on talking on this. And practical, not theoretical. I'm not just talking theory, isn't it? It's not just I'm talking something which has no relationship. Okay, chanting strengthens the soul. Remember this. By direct perception, that's the word. Your homework is to find where in Gita this verse is. Krishna says this. What's that? So what's that? Full verse? Hmm?
I can't remember now.
Yeah. Pavitram idam uttamam.
Pratakshaavagamam.
Pratakshaavagamam. I think Prabhupada gives direct perception there.
Yeah, in that one.
Isn't
It's
it?
in
Yeah.
that.
That word is a most pratakshaavagamam. Prataksh. That word is a basis of Ramanuja philosophy. Sri Vaishnava whole philosophy is based on this. Pratyaksh, it gives direct perception of Krishna. So when you chant and you remember Krishna, see that if you come to that platform of remembrance, sometimes we remember, no, when we chant, then you're getting association of him. That's what Prabhupada says. By association with Krishna, direct perception. When you chant his name, his form, qualities get revealed when you're pure, and then you get direct perception. And then soul gets attracted towards Krishna. It's simple. That is why remembrance is very important. If you don't get remembrance, you're not having a direct perception. And another idea, having direct perception of this material world, and soul starts gets attracting towards it in spite of your chanting, and then your mind goes tuck, 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 tuck. You see the point? That is why Bhakti Santa says you have to have remembrance somehow or the other. And that is what Prabhupada says in Nectar of Devotion. The king of all rules and regulations is never forget Krishna. What's that Sanskrit verse? Satatam smartayo Vishnu vismartayo na jatu chit. This is from which book? No. This is from Vishnu Puran, by the way. Well, of course, quoted in Nectar of Devotion. Vishnu Puran and also Padma Puran, it's mentioned, but Vishnu Puran is, we say that. Okay, so that's remembrance. Remembrance is very important. But through chanting, always remember, not independently. And that's what I explain why. Okay, so there's some important verse, no? Hierarchy. Indriyani parani ahaur indriyabhya paramana. Like generally we don't care about this verse, no? Above senses, mind, above intelligence, soul. Okay, fine, this is all knowledge, forget it. No, not forget, you can't forget it. That is why chanting is the most important duty because of so many reasons, and because chanting strengthens the soul. You see? So why chanting is most important duty? Because it helps to clear up offenses. Because second, come on, I just told you and you forget. It solves the doubts in philosophy, so helps to make a transition from Paroch to 𝗪𝗪. And third is, it is a gateway to remembrance. And fourth is, it strengthens the soul. Prabhupada says chanting is the most important duty. It's not a simple statement. How many times Prabhupada said chanting is most important? And it's because of this. Hey, it's not working. It doesn't work. Something happened to it. Yeah, probably I have to go into that or normal situation, something. I don't know what. Okay. Oh, what's happening? Prabhu, can you just set it? It's just very bad now. Okay. Fine. Chanting strengthens the soul. Okay, this is done. Hey, chanting is the best service. That's why also chanting is important. Now you see the point Prabhupada mentions here in his Srimad Bhagavatam 1.6.33 purport. And this is so important that you can't miss it. But most of us have missed it. This first canto. And this is the only place Prabhupada talks this. Prabhupada never repeats this point. That's why it's very important to read Prabhupada books. Everything. He doesn't repeat. This point is not repeated anywhere. Now what's this point all about? This point is chanting is the best service. Prabhupada says, everybody can see that? Yes. It is a natural psychology in every individual case that a person likes to hear and enjoy his personal glories enumerated by others. Isn't it? This is natural instinct, and the Lord being also an individual personality like others is not an exception to this psychology. Because psychological characteristics visible in individual souls are a reflection of the same psychology in Absolute Lord. It's such an important... If you understand this, your chanting will improve. If you miss this, you can't chant properly. Now what Prabhupada is saying Krishna likes to hear his name. That's a very important point for all of us. Krishna likes to hear his name, just like we like to hear our names, isn't it? If I chant your name, if I chant somebody's name, like, okay, so what's your name? Huh? Okay, if I chant 𝗪𝗲𝗪𝗲𝗪𝗲𝗪𝗲𝗪𝗲, see, you already started smiling. Automatically. It happens. We like that. So, that same Krishna also likes that. But the difference is, when somebody chants our name and we like that, we become happy. When somebody chants Krishna's name, we become happy. There is a difference. Difference is, when somebody chants our name, we become happy. It is bad for this world. It is bad for me. We get pride. It is bad for him. In the sense that I can then exploit. But when we chant Krishna's name, he becomes happy. It is good for everybody. That difference is there. This is perverted reflection, no? So that is why chanting is the best service, because it makes Krishna happy. I told you the initial logic why Krishna becomes happy. This is one more logic why Krishna becomes happy, because everybody likes to hear his name. And Krishna becomes happy when he hears his name. That instinct is there coming from Krishna. So he becomes very happy when we chant his name.
Does it become more happy when you say Krishna, Krishna or Hare Krishna?
Yeah, of course, Hare Krishna is. If you say Krishna, he becomes happy. And then when you add Hare, he starts jumping. That's all. Because he starts thinking of his devotee. No, that's it. So some people chant, Mahaprabhu used to say Krishna, 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 hey. That's also there. So simply by chanting Krishna also, then there are levels of... So that's the idea. So what's the point here? How this point will improve our chanting? Now chanting is the best service, you understand, no? So that's one idea. But how this point will improve our chanting? Like, what's the practical take in that?
I become happy.
You become happy?
We are part and parcel.
No, how does it improve your chanting?
Krishna is hearing, basically.
Yeah, that's the point. When we chant, don't just think you are hearing. Think Krishna is also hearing. And your hearing is important or Krishna's hearing? Yeah. And that's why we can't chant properly, because we are always thinking about us. Again it comes to aham mameti. You are the center. We can't get out of this aham mameti. It's a trap. And Prahlad Maharaj didn't just say like that. This is the root cause of all disease, aham mameti, I and mine. It's not simple to think, okay, my house is Krishna's, my kids are Krishna's, my wife is Krishna's, or my property is Krishna's, okay fine, done. I am out of this disease. No, we are not out. It's rooted in us. We'll come back to it again and again. And you have to think. So, if you simply chant and hear, Prabhupada says chant and hear, yeah. You start hearing. Initially it will happen like that, chant and hear, you have to start hearing. First of all, you have to hear yourself also. Like in beginning, you can't even hear, you can't even know what you are hearing. But then slowly, when you start hearing, understanding, then you also understand Krishna is in my heart, Krishna is also hearing. In fact, it's just the opposite. When Krishna hears, then only we can hear. That's philosophy. Without Krishna's hearing, we will not be able to even hear it. We can't hear it. The Prabhupada says, no, that example, sun and sunlight. Prabhupada says, we can see this only when first sun sees it. Or light. With the help of light, we can see this, no? Even if your eyes and everything is perfect, without light you can't see this. Similarly, with the help of Krishna we can hear. Otherwise we can't hear. So first Krishna hears and then you are able to hear. That is reality. Illusion is you are hearing and nobody is hearing. That's illusion. So even if you are chanting, you are in illusion. You see, illusion is, Maya is very tricky. Maya, you can't beat her. Can you beat her? No. She is having infinite experience, infinite loop. That's Maya. So, infinite experience, you can't beat her. It's impossible. Without Bhaktivedanta says, without putting extraordinary efforts, you can't beat her. Still you can't beat her, of course. You need help of God. You need help of God. That's the role of mercy there. That's the role of mercy. So you see the point. So we are chanting, but if you don't remember, Krishna is also hearing. You are in illusion. Now, although you are in contact with Him, holy name is God, you are in contact of Him, still you are in illusion. That is Maya. Just like these deities. So we are having darshan of Radha Madan Mohan. Where is Maya here? Can anybody tell? Is there Maya here or not? Is she here or not? Yes, she's serving. Oh, there is no Maya in temple. So where is she on the altar? Behind Krishna. And that's it in Bhagavatam. You know that verse first? What's that verse? Vyasadeva says, Vyasadeva, when he saw Krishna in Samadhi, then Sukdev mentions, Apashyat Purnam Purusham Mayam Tad Apashrayam. He saw Krishna, and behind Krishna he saw Maya. So that works with deities also. If we are in proper consciousness, we'll see through and through Krishna and we'll see Maya there. We'll not be able to see him. 𝗙𝗶𝗹𝗪𝗀. We will not be able to see him. So when you're chanting, there is Maya there also. There is there. So you have to be very careful. So remember this. That's how you can, when you chant, and don't worry if you cannot hear properly. Remember Krishna is hearing. Don't worry about that. Don't worry your mind is not focused on Krishna. You try to focus, but remember Krishna's mind is focused on you. And if you do that, automatically your mind will become focused. You see, that's how everything proceeds from Him, and then it becomes perfect. If you try to proceed from your situation, your perspective, it will have a fault. First it should come from Him, then you. That is devotion. If you put yourself first, then that's a problem. So that's the idea. So what do we say when you chant? You have to remember, we are hearing and also, and this is wrong. Yeah, Krishna is hearing and we are also hearing. That's right. If you want to really put to the point philosophically. Practically you might think the other way around. Practically, okay, I am hearing and Krishna is also hearing. But if you want to really put it succinctly, then Hare Krishna, Krishna is hearing, and because of His mercy, I am able to hear His holy name. He is so merciful. You see, your chanting will automatically improve. So that is said by Prabhupada. I am not saying that. I have not brought this point from Jiva Goswami, Madhva or something. It's said by Prabhupada. It's simple. But you have to extract it from this, isn't it? You have to read it properly. Okay. And then, this I told you, aim of chanting is, remember, aim of chanting is not bliss. That's not the idea. So Prabhupada says here, in one of the lectures by Prabhupada, as soon as you chant Hare Krishna, immediately remember Krishna. Krishna's form, Krishna's fighting, Krishna is sitting on chariot of Arjuna. If you read Krishna book always, some of his pastimes will immediately come. You see, Prabhupada is saying Krishna book, you have to read. Appear in my brain immediately, as soon as you chant Hare Krishna. This is required. Smaranam automatically. Prabhupada but qualifies, it should not be brute force that you're trying to remember. No, it should come automatically. So when you chant and then you pray, Krishna, please give me your remembrance, you read Krishna book, you do service, your heart becomes pure, then you start remembering Him. But that is required. Prabhupada says that is required. So remember, chanting is an aim of remembering. So don't say it's done. When you chant and you feel bliss, oh, my chanting is nice. It's nice to a certain level, but it's not perfect. You have to go ahead. When you chant and you feel so happy, don't be happy. Still you have to weep. Keep on weeping. You see? Because still you are not at perfection. You have to weep. Krishna, please help me remember you. I can't remember you. But you know what? Now here Maya will come. Maya will say, you are happy, why are you weeping? Be happy. and you'll be very happy, and you'll forget the goal. You see how illusion works? In that happiness of Krishna consciousness, we will forget this goal. So we are not to be deluded by illusion. She will try to delude us. That is why Prabhupada says in Nectar of Devotion, Krishna consciousness is crying. You have heard that? Prabhupada says there is a small technique to advance in Krishna consciousness, that is crying. So we have to attain this, otherwise, you feel happy? Okay, fine. Keep it with you. Keep that happiness with you. It will help you to chant more, isn't it? If you get frustrated, you will not be able to chant. Keep that happiness. Use that happiness to chant. Don't abuse that happiness by becoming lost in that. Use it to chant more, and attain to this goal. You understanding what I am saying? Maybe. Okay, fine. Like it's clear, no? Like if you have any. Remember that. Remembering is the aim of chanting, okay? Good chanting leads to more chanting and more service. This is Prabhupada answered also. This is the effect of good chanting. This is not the goal. This is the effect. It leads to more chanting and more service. How do you know that your chanting is good now, before you achieve your goal? How do you know you are approaching your goal? By this. Some symptoms have to be there, no? Okay, fine. I'm chanting. So if you chant now, you will not be able to remember him, no? But then you have to know whether I'm chanting and I'm approaching my goal or not. These are the milestones by which you can know you're approaching your goal. The chanting leads to more chanting. Prabhupada says in one of his lectures, if you're chanting Hare Krishna, if you're so advanced, then chant Hare Krishna 24 hours. But he'll sleep. Prabhupada makes a snoring noise and laughter. So in the name of chanting Hare Krishna, you'll sleep. And if you're actually chanting Hare Krishna, you'll be enthusiastic. Oh, I shall serve, I shall. That is the effect. Prabhupada says, see? Prabhupada says that's the effect. Prabhupada doesn't say that's a goal. Prabhupada doesn't say. That's the effect. Phalena parichiyate, Prabhupada says. We have to see by the result. You should be enthusiastic more and more. So when you chant, the result is you become enthusiastic to do service, you become enthusiastic to serve, and you keep on chanting and approach your goal of remembering. Remembering is a first goal. And when you start remembering Krishna, then the next goal is love. There are various goals, no? So immediate goal, long-term goal like that. So that's Prabhupada says. So yeah. And this is a very good answer, I mean to say. If you chant nicely, what will happen? You will want to chant more. It's a very practical answer, no? Chant nicely, you like to serve. Yes, bro.
One quick question, Prabhuji. When we say more chanting, is it more rounds or more quality?
More chanting, both. More rounds also. And more quality. Quantity both, isn't it? It happens to all of us, no? When we chant, then we want to chant. Sometimes we think, we should not stop chanting, we should keep on chanting. So, okay, good. That's good chanting.
Prabhuji, sometimes in the interest of service, the chanting gets sidelined or compromised, yeah.
Yeah. In the service? Yeah. Okay, fine. I'll talk about that in Art of Service. That balance is required. Yeah, Prabhupada says about that. I'll talk about that. Okay, I'll talk about that. Okay, do not chant fast. And now I'm giving you some practical tips more to chant nicely. What Prabhupada says. Do not chant fast and do not chant in mind. Do not try to finish chanting. I told you, if you finish chanting, chanting will finish you. Remember that. You'll start committing offenses. Prabhupada says, Jiva Goswami instructs that chanting Holy Name of Lord should be loudly done. Srimad Bhagavatam purport. Concentrate fully on sound vibration, pronouncing each name distinctly. Gradually your speed in chanting will increase naturally. Do not worry so much about chanting fast. Most important is hearing. This is latter. And one of his purport, Prabhupada says, it should be chanted loudly. All our acharyas chanted loudly. Jagannath Das Babaji used to chant loudly. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he made a special room, no? That Godrum Dweep, his walls are like 12 inches, 13 inches thick. In night he used to chant loudly. And so that neighbors don't get disturbed, he used to lock him. Rupa Goswami had a cave under the ground. He used to go under the ground. If you go to Radha Govind temple, So generally it is not shown. If you go to Radha Govind temple, that Pandits will take you in the altar and then he used to sit there, all acharyas, because they were chanting loudly. They were like focusing on chanting. So, of course, you should not chant so loud that people get messed up around you. Loud enough, you can hear. But you can chant loud also. If you are alone, you can shout. Not a bad deal. You can do that if you want. In fact, Sufis do that. Do you know this? Sufi, Muslim, Islamic tradition. They chant Allah's name, no? They sing. No, they chant loudly. The whole night they are chanting. They call Lord. That's also a system. Okay, and do not chant fast. Other tips of chanting is not necessary to sit. I already told you. No problem. You can stand, you can walk, you can run, you can stand upside down. Do anything. But your mind should be focused. That's all. It should help you to focus on chanting. That's all. Any posture. Vedanta Sutra, there is a sutra which says how to do japa. What posture? That Vyasadeva asked that, Purvapaksh. And the answer is Mano Anukulanam Evacha. Remember this. All acharyas quote this. Madhva, Ramanuja, everything. Which posture to sit? Vedanta Sutra asks this question. And the answer is Mano Anukulanam. Any posture which helps you, which is favorable to fix your mind on chanting, do that. Bas. As simple as that.
When you say chanting should not be fast, what is the usual meter?
That machine gun chanting and all those chanting.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't try to finish also. All those things. Like
is there a reasonable speed?
No. You have to figure out. When you chant, you have to hear every holy name distinctly. Bas. That's up to you. You decide. But it should not be like, वो कहते हैं रेड मारना. You know this? Holy name की रेड मत मारो. वो हिंदी में कहते हैं. Okay, never sleep while chanting. That's very bad because chanting means you are inviting Lord and then you sleep. You're inviting some guest, come to my house. Your friend come, ting, ting. Sit in the dining room, you are gone to sleep. What's happening? Chanting is like inviting Lord, isn't it? We hear. So sleeping is the worst offense you can do. When you sleep, if you're feeling so much sleepy, I told you, sit, stand, walk, run. Otherwise, take rest. Do something, don't sleep. That's a very bad offense. That's a very bad offense. So try to avoid that, isn't it? Never sleep. Okay, do not be distracted while chanting. So red hour chanting, I told you, don't do all those things. So take some practical steps to stop distraction. Don't think, now I will not get distracted. Today I will not get distracted. It will not happen like that. You have to do so for this, for avoiding distraction, there is a technique of creating a space. Christianity is based on that. Christianity created a space. You see big cathedrals. You know that, no? They make big churches. They used to make. No, why? Because that big churches will give you awe and reverence automatically, and that space creates a mood. This temple is that same thing. We are creating a space which helps you to enhance your mood. That's all. So you have to create a space. So that is why people used to have temple room in their house. Previously, people used to go in temple room, sit and chant. So everybody knows, I should not disturb him. And he also knows I am in temple. Like that, some space. Or I told you, either you can create a physical space or you can create a virtual space. So the idea is remove your cell phone, keep all distractions in locker or something, or go to park, all distractions are left behind. It's not a belief, it's an action. That is why it is said, it is not a matter of right belief, it is a matter of right action. Prabhupada always says action, because action will automatically bring belief, but belief might not necessarily lead to action, isn't it? So you have to do something to get not distracted. Don't think today I will chant without distraction. Today I'll do it, I'll make it. No. Practically you have to make a space. You have to get rid of things, you have to go somewhere, do something. Otherwise it will never happen. Okay, sometimes chant more, please. 16 rounds and your bead bag is not seen. It happens like that. 16 rounds and then finished. No. It's minimum. We vowed minimum 16 rounds. We didn't vow only 16 rounds. At least 16 rounds. Whenever, so now if you have service, okay, do service, but if you don't have service, if you are not needed, then chant more, fine. Nobody said only 16 rounds. Nobody said this. And it's good to sometimes chant more. It'll help you to align yourself. Do not drive and chant, please, because many devotees have lost their lives. Many, many devotees. And this is a bad habit, no? Devotees do. While driving car, ek haath beat bag mein Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. How can you chant like that? It's impossible. You can't focus on two things. Especially driving. It is by default we are doing on offense. It's a default. That's all. Some people ride bike and chant. You have seen that? That's crazy in India. They have beat bag and then like this they hold and Hare Krishna. That's very bad. Like so risky. Don't do that. Don't even put liquor and try to finish rounds. You're finishing rounds. That's what you're doing. That's crazy. Google car can help. Yeah, actually. It can help you. So if you want to chant and drive, take a Google car when it comes in. So now, do not drive and chant. Do not do that. Create an environment to chant exclusively. This is very important. Create an environment. And there are some warnings also. Prabhupada gives some warnings. This is Srimad Bhagavatam purport, first 1.7.6. Prabhupada says here, revival of dormant affection or love of Godhead does not depend on mechanical system of hearing and chanting. Remember that. But it solely, wholly depends on causeless mercy of Lord. When the Lord is fully satisfied with sincere efforts of devotee, He may endow him with loving transcendental service. But even with prescribed forms of hearing and chanting, there is at once mitigation of superfluous unwanted miseries of material existence. So chanting is not mechanical system of devotion, is not mechanical system of hearing and chant. Even if you chant and hear like 100%, this cut, even still you might not get perfection. It solely, wholly depends on mercy of Lord. In other words, it depends on your attitude. You see the point? Krishna sees the attitude. Prabhupada says it depends on the sincere effort. Sincere effort means the attitude of a devotee while chanting and while hearing. And the attitude I have explained you, I'll explain you what's the attitude. So that attitude is important. Now, how do you define the attitude? What's attitude? With what attitude should we chant? So, here is the idea. Attitude while chanting. Now, before this, I'll just tell you. Attitude consists of what? Thinking and feeling, both, no? Is it? That makes attitude, what we think, what we feel. So you should know while chanting what you should think and what you should feel. Yes. So what you should think, Prabhupada says that. Prabhupada says, chant with understanding, holy name of Krishna is Krishna. This is what you have to, first thought you have to keep in mind. You have to have two thoughts and two feelings. Is it? So chant with understanding, holy name of Krishna is Krishna. This is very important. Prabhupada says in lecture, Prabhupada says, as soon as you approach the deity or the name, you should know fully well that Krishna is present. Therefore, we should worship deity with great attention. As much as Krishna is present, similarly we should worship holy name with great attention. Idea is when you chant, you are having a meeting with Krishna, isn't it? We are so focused when we are meeting with, on phone, you have meetings, no, in America? So many meetings, no? And that time you don't want to talk to anybody, isn't it? Even your kid comes, get lost. Your wife calls, Prabhu, just shut up. This is important. You're so focused. That is, you are having a meeting with God. Just like you are having a meeting with these people. That is chanting. You can't afford to distract your mind. If it goes itself, that's another thing. So, it is said, when you chant, Krishna is dancing on your tongue. You know this? Krishna dances, His holy name dances, and soul dances. Jeev nache, naam nache, nache prem dhan. Jagdanand Pandit. He says, when you chant, Jeev nache, naam nache, nache prem dhan. All the three, love of God, the living entity, and the holy name. All of them chant, all dance together in this body. That's the ideal take of chanting. So chant, And while chanting, remember that Krishna is also hearing with you. This I have already explained, isn't it? Krishna is hearing. These two thoughts should be there. If you miss these two thoughts, you miss everything. Don't just start thinking, Krishna is so nice, Krishna is this, Krishna is this. No, that will come automatically. Don't worry about that. You have to focus on these points. And what should be the feeling part? You should have a prayerful feeling. And what's a prayer? Krishna, engage me. That Prabhupada says. Now Prabhupada gives the foundation of all prayers. Engage me in your service. But then when you start praying this, so many prayers will come out of this, isn't it? That's a base. Krishna, engage me in your service. Then from this foundation, infinite prayers will emerge, isn't it? Ai nanda tanuja kinkaram. That's one of the prayer. Yugaitam nimishena. That's another prayer. 𝗙liche𝗹𝗹𝗪𝗲𝗀𝗪. So that prayerful mood, with the prayer, engage me in your service, that's a feeling. With that feeling, if you chant, then automatically your feelings will develop and mature. And with a grateful feeling. We are grateful to Him, no? Why we are grateful? I just told you. Why we are grateful? He is allowing us to hear. He is hearing and then we can hear. He is allowing us to hear. Without His mercy, we can't even lift the beats. Prabhupada says in one of his lectures, this point, you have to be grateful. Without His mercy, you can't even lift your beats. If you get paralyzed, what do you do? I was just hearing his lecture. So you have to be grateful. These two feelings has to be there. And this verse of gratefulness, it comes from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is your homework. Go back to Chaitanya Charitamrita and find this verse. Can you just ask them to stop? Yeah. Chalo, bahar jao. This is the mind, no? So, there's a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita which says, while chanting you have to be grateful. And find that. Find that verse. But you have to little apply your intelligence. If you type on folio, it will not come. Chanting grateful, it will not come. It's something different. You go and find, it will come. You find it. So and that's coming from Mahaprabhu, by the way. One hint I'll give you. So that's a feeling. This makes your attitude. So Prabhupada says, chanting is not just mechanical hearing and chanting. Attitude, Prabhupada says in Nectar of Instruction, attitude is a key. You heard that? In Nectar of Devotion also. So you have to think 2 points. Keep the points. Think. Krishna's name is Krishna. I'm having a meeting. Krishna is hearing and I'm also hearing. And these feelings of prayerful and grateful. And then you try to chant. And chanting is best glorification. Have you heard this? Yeah. This is Adi Leela. Lord Chaitanya never tried to be master of holy name. Rather, He taught us how to be servants of holy name. This is such an important line. Adi Leela, Chaitanya 7.95 purport. Bhakti Siddhanta's 80% teaching is this. Never try to be master of holy name. If you can understand this line, your life is perfect. But to figure out this line, it's very difficult. What do you mean by master of holy name? What do you mean by servant of holy name? That's a big take here. So you can anybody tell what's the meaning? But you go and think about it. What do you say?
My question is, maybe I don't understand how you're saying that chanting is the best glorification.
Yeah, that's
and the reference that you give is
that's
master
what I'm
and
asking.
servant.
If you understand this line, you will come to that conclusion. If you understand this statement, you will come to that conclusion, chanting is best glorification. But that's a big connection. You have to spend your life to understand this one statement. It's not easy. And this is just one line. Prabhupada never repeats this. This is one in that ocean. But if you miss this, you miss. You can never understand chanting is best glorification if we don't understand this. Lord Chaitanya never tried to be master of holy name. This is your homework. Go and figure it out. Next year I'll ask you. Yeah. It might take your whole life. But please think on this line. Please think. You have to think and think and think and think. And to make a connection between this reference and this topic. Make a connection. And it will help you. It will help you to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Read it, answer is there. Read this year, you do this. And then I will ask you. Okay, chanting is best glorification. It took me it took me 15-20 years to understand this. I couldn't really figure out, huh?
That's glorification of Krishna.
It's a glorification of Krishna. Okay, but the connection, but you will approach that understanding by understanding this line. So go and read that, no problem. Have a look. I'll explain you later. Okay, I'll give you time till Sunday to see, figure it out, and I'll explain, no problem. Tomorrow is an ole. Okay, so you have two homework. One is those verses, and one is this. And then we'll talk about that. In question answers, maybe somebody of you can ask. Remind me, I'll answer that. Okay, and learn chanting by chanting. That's what Prabhupada says. The more you chant, the more you learn how to chant. Somebody asked Prabhupada, how do you become expert in chanting? Prabhupada said, by chanting. So, of course, that chanting includes many other things, isn't it? It's not, I told you, it also includes philosophy, rules and regulations, renunciation, the attitude. Everything is included in that. So learn chanting by chanting. The idea is, you don't learn chanting by mechanical chanting, you see. Learn chanting by chanting with proper attitude and everything in a package. Then we learn, when we become expert. Prabhupada says, when you become expert in chanting, your life is perfect. That's what we are doing here. That's what we are doing, otherwise there's no point. So that's what is today's seminar, Art of Chanting. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so any questions or it's done? Anyway, people were asking questions anyway. Yeah, I just need to announce and then I'll finish it. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just show you. This is a pen drive I just showed you. No, I didn't show you. I showed you. This is an English Hindi. All these seminars are there in this, and many other things I've already recorded. So I have many of them in English and Hindi. You can take these pen drives, put it in your car, keep on hearing, understand, think, and if you have doubts, then of course you will have doubts, And in my lectures I give homework. So many, I can say, figure it out. And I don't answer. So it will help you to think. So then there's a mail here. You can always mail me. You can share answers. And that will be nice. So anybody wants to take this pen drive, this is 16 GB pen drive, by the way. It works in your car also, in your laptop. And there are so many videos also in this. So that of course you have to see in laptop. So anybody wants, I'll just put it here. You can take this. For some small donation. This is in Hindi, English both. Different Hindi, different English. Everybody wants to hear in English, Hindi. And these are some books. If devotees have here many books, but yeah, you have. But you see, whatever I was speaking, it's there in this book. Mighty Efforts. If you have this, you might have read this. It's a difficult book to read. I know this. You can't read it easily, but it helps you. That's all. So I put so many in this. I have given evidences from Prabhupada books, but in this book I have put evidences from Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta, Jiva Goswami Vishwanath, from other acharyas also, to give you a solid backing, whatever I have talked here, and many other things. And that's why I named this book Mighty Efforts. Bhakti Santa said, I'll just read to you. Bhakti Santa, just in the beginning, I have just put this book, and that's very nice, and I quoted here. Bhakti Santa said that unless, this is Bhakti Santa in 𝗪𝗲𝗪𝗀𝗀, unless we extend our best efforts earnestly and qualify ourselves for Lord mercy, to qualify yourself for Lord's mercy, it is next to impossible that we can be rescued from a fallen condition. No. So that's why mighty efforts. It's just a matter of knowing and applying. That's all. If you don't know how to make khichdi, and if I ask somebody, what will he do? He'll make a real khichdi out of it. Nothing will come out. If you know, it takes 10 minutes, no? Khichdi. You know khichdi, no? You know South Indians? Okay, fine, khichdi. Your khichdi is a little different from ours. It is like hard, ours is like semi-liquid. Yeah, it's different. I was staying in one South Indian's house. Oh, your friend. I asked her khichdi and it became solid. I asked, what's this? And then they said, our khichdi is like pongal, something they were telling. Your khichdi is something else. Your khichdi is like our pongal. Something else complex. So you can read this book. And this is one book, Crazy Ideas. This will help you in preaching. If you have, you have. If you don't have, you can take this. And there are so many people talk so many questions, no? What is there in Bible? What is there in Quran? Why their message is different? What is Allah? What is vegetarianism? What is non-violence? What is evil? Why this material world is made? So in this book, I have put not only answers from Prabhupada books, but from Western philosophy, Indian philosophy, Orthodox tradition, liberal traditions. From everywhere I have taken evidences from Islam, from Quran, from Zen, from Taoism, and put answers in this. So you will be able to preach nicely and also understand your self-concepts. So if anybody wants this, you're most welcome. And thank you very much for listening. Hare Krishna. We'll meet on Sunday. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So tomorrow, whatever the fuck you want to.